what do you think about tennis culture, and specifically for apparel? I'm an undefeated tennis player.
Yeah, pickleball.
No, no,
He calls
undefeated tennis and pickleball.
he calls pickleball tennis.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm undefeated, but I have not yet played anybody over five.
any adult.
We live below the fold. We live underneath those incredible brands.
What is the vision? Right? So like there's a story, but then it's like, where are you trying to go? If it's compelling enough, then you start to get people to believe in it.
But yeah, as far as like tennis culture, when it, in apparel, I think we saw like the golf thing happen.
Masters.
We saw the Masters happen, but I don't know if this is like a Miami thing that I've been following, but I saw Prince, the brand come. I saw like actually right here in Chicago, there's a Wilson store.
Yes, there's a Wilson store in Soho now, right off of Broadway and Lafayette.
Are you seeing that?
So, there's a resurgence of some really iconic brands. Sergio Tacchini going back to the 80s and 90s with John McEnroe used to wear that brand. And then there's, Fila, which made a run into the, basketball space and now went back to its roots with that ecru colored, ecru and navy color combo. You have Alessi with Chrissy Everett behind that brand. So there's a resurgence of nostalgia, which that's a lot of what tennis is all about, right? Tradition. And then the US Open's about how do we break tradition yet keep it cool, right? Mm-hmm. So Wimbledon's got all whites, right? This week you got Wimbledon going on, and the players are allowed to wear maybe a logo in a contrast color, but they're basically wearing all whites.
All white.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to the Open and you see nothing but neons, right? Neons and black and really cool stuff where the brands get to showcase a lot of how they feel about what's going on in the world of fashion, typical New York style, right? So It's just the tennis, that classic tennis look is becoming part of our, active attire lifestyle, whether it's like just a comfy polo, an active polo that you can wear all day with even the chino is not a chino anymore, right? It's got this performance fabric, 5-pocket kind of Rhone or Lululemon inspired feel to it, and just people want to wear what's comfortable. So yes, I think tennis is making an impact. The popularity of pickleball lately is incredible. Alpha Broda, we were at one of the trade show booths, and talking with the reps and some similar kind of conversation, tennis, pickleball. And they're like, wait, you got to see this. And they went over to the hard goods side of the business, and they actually have pickleball sets that you could
paddles,
nice,
customize and give out as gifts. So it's really cool.
And so when it comes to your design team, are you guys, just kind of fans of different sports, and then kind of putting your own, energy and like what you guys like into the brand? Like when it comes to a tennis or when it comes to something like that, are you saying, hey, listen, I love tennis. I've been to the matches. I'm seeing this trend happen. And then do you guys follow those, or do you figure, oh no, this is we don't do tennis inspired stuff. We do athletic, and you stick with that. I guess the question is, are you following those trends, especially if you have passion for them, or do you kind of disregard them and stick to what you know?
So it's a good question. The inspiration for a lot of what we do on the Threadfast brand, it's really about what people love to wear. I know we talked about this when we met last week. I don't know if we talked about it while we were podcasting, but we all have those garments in our closet, in our drawers that are always on top of the pile, right? It's always the one that just came back from the wash. We wear it over and over again before we grab the other 4 shirts that are like crisp and new in the pile that just don't feel the same way. So we have emotional connections to things that we use every day. We strive to build product that people will love to wear and that fit their lifestyle. And it's not necessarily revolutionary product. Sometimes it's just, a tweak on a product. I don't know if we have have a chance, but the 320H hoodie is a perfect example, right? How do we re-engineer pockets so they work in our world? Our fleece pant, I sit on a sofa or a car seat, and pockets and keys and wallets are falling out of pockets, and how do we solve that with security zippers? So we figure out what people want, and then we look at our industry and say, okay, so what's happening in the world of fashion, looking at all the different inspirations that are feeding that world and what's lacking. And that's really how we develop. And once we identify those items, then we put it through our unique lens, right? Our unique perspective on sourcing and materials and sustainability and durability of product. And we hope we build something that people find comfortable and enjoyable and wear over and over again. This is a great example. So this is our push through print, right? It's got an Avenger logo on it. And I must have worn this garment around the house. If I wore it once, I wore it 200 times, right? It ages beautifully, right? So that's the kind of product that we strive to build. And that longevity of product is something that we don't talk about often enough in our industry when it comes to, the sustainability piece. I wish there was a way to grade something and say, you know what, yeah, we used X amount of cotton, X amount of water to dye that cotton, X amount of energy to produce that t-shirt, and this is how many hours of wear that t-shirt got as compared to this other garment that got, X minus that many hours of wear or whatever.
And then it was just thrown out, right? Never wore again.
And it became disposable. So what was the environmental impact per level of enjoyment or hours of wear? I wish we could some way develop a metric with that, but that's part of really the heart of what we're all about.
Yeah, I like the way that you put it, that you have a garment that ages well. And those typically are the ones that become your favorite t-shirt. It's like the ones that that it's been worn, it's been washed, and it's just extremely comfortable every time you put it on. I kind of relate that to all the Threadfast products that you guys have. That's kind of the niche that you guys have for sure. One thing I wanted to ask, Abe, is when you were here, you were pretty much giving a pitch to our sales team and our account managers and giving everyone a bit of the story. And what I found, I kind of took something away from that. I'm always looking at how can I pitch better and how can I present better to our customers. And I found that your presentation had a really good flow to it. And I don't know how much time you put into it, but you had the brochures that you handed out. You started with the story, you went into the eco part of the brand, but it had a really good flow. And I know even when I spoke to the team after, they felt like they had a better connection, not only with the brand, but with you as well. What thought do you put into, or what process do you put into when you're developing a pitch? And I think this resonates a lot for the audience that we have. Yeah. There's entrepreneurs, there's people that are in business, and we're all trying to figure out how to pitch better and present better. So that's one takeaway that I remember from having you here last week. So any insight on that?
Well, first, thank you. It's a very nice compliment. My career really hasn't focused on sales. I started in this crazy industry of apparel when I was in NYU as a college student, working in a family business. I was on the production side of things, and I was dealing with product day in and day out, and working with contract printers and understanding different mill blanks and things like that. And I've always really been on the sourcing side, on the product side. And if I was ever quote unquote pitching or selling, it was in offering a service, right? For a bunch of years, I was the full package t-shirt guy, developing full package t-shirts for brands, urban brands for a while, and different brands in the industry that wanted to source t-shirts the same way they source their denim from Asia. Send it to me finished in a box, so I just slap a label on it and ship it to my retailer. So I almost don't think of the meeting we had last week as a pitch or sales. And maybe that's the secret. Maybe the secret is believe in what you're offering. Be great at what you do. And then the pitch comes easy. Carl, I'm not going to turn the tables on you, but while I was there, I was fortunate enough to have you give me a tour of your facility. And I left that meeting saying, wow, these guys really have it dialed in. They understand their service, they understand their business, they understand their customer. I don't think you were pitching me when you walked me through the building, but the enthusiasm and the passion and the love for what you've built came shining through, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if there was any one point I would maybe give to people listening, it's if you find the product that you love, the pitch comes easy. And to answer your question, I was traveling to Chicago last week to visit Alpha Broda for an open house. Rachel set up a couple of meetings. I asked my team to throw a couple of flyers in the sample case, and that was the extent of the prep that I did for our meeting. So I'm sorry if I didn't give, if that's disrespectful, if I could have given you a little bit more effort, but it's
Sounds
really
authentic.
about,
That's,
Nice
I
and
think that's
authentic.
that's the answer is the authenticity. It's like it is a pitch per se because you're presenting your product, but you're not selling. You're just being passionate and telling your story. And I think that alone comes out with authenticity. And I appreciate it. The tour that we gave you, it's the same thing. We're not selling. We're not pitching. We're just proud of what we've built and proud of the team that we have. And sometimes that comes off the right way. And if that leads to business, awesome. And usually it does, you know? So I think we have something similar in the authenticity of what we're doing.
Yeah, backing up a little bit, I think our audience will also appreciate a little bit more of your story. And the reason why I just want to give everybody the reason why all of a sudden we're not in person anymore is we had to abruptly break this. Abe had to go to the airport. I had to run out to a meeting. We actually are running businesses as well. Sometimes you think like, oh, we just get to hang out and have amazing conversations with incredible people like yourself. But that's why for the audience that all of a sudden we disappeared and went into the metaverse. So I really think that they'll enjoy some of your background in retail. Again, a lot of our audience are retailers, or they are people who are making these full package products and selling them either to consumers or to retailers or big box or so forth. And just giving some of the insight and the successes that you've had, I think will really, really be interesting.
Sure. So I can give a little bit of background there. The parent company for Threadfast is a company by the name of Sea Life Group. I'm a partner there. I've been, we're a great team. And it's really the retail side of the business that gave birth to Threadfast. And I'll tell the abridged version of that story. We service the retail community with a lot of licensed products. So whether it's Marvel Avengers or Disney or rock and roll, we have a portfolio of over 100 different licensed properties, and we work with every major retailer from, Dollar General and Five Below up through Hot Topic and PacSun and everybody in between. And something dramatic happened at around 2015. And that was a move by Walmart to take their men's licensed t-shirt program and switch it over from an 18 singles blank to a 30 singles blank. I think the retail at the time was $7.88. So here you have a Rolling Stones or a Pink Floyd black, really cool graphic for sale at Walmart at $7.88. Well, it's really challenging. It's challenging for us to make a margin at that retail. But beyond that, what do you do if you're Hot Topic, if you're PacSun, if you're JCPenney or Kohl's, and you need to have product with a $24 ticket and an $18 price out the door, and here you are competing with like for like product at a much lower price. So we
With
had
Walmart.
with Walmart, right?
Right.
There's no, at the end of the day, the inherent product on the rack is not dramatically different. Maybe you have a back print. Can you justify that big of a spread on price? So we had to solve that for the mid-tier and specialty retailer. And for the first time, we combined two of our sourcing pipelines. We combined what we call our deco business, which is mostly various different mill blanks, quick turn, screen print here in this hemisphere, with our Asia model, which is specialty product built from yarn forward, a little bit more needle, a little bit more decoration cut parts, things that you can't do on a finished garment. So how did we combine the two? I got on a plane. I went to Shanghai, and we worked with some of our mills over there, developing different novel fabrications. So whether it was slub jersey, or the tri-blend that I'm wearing now, or a confetti fleck, or different washes like a vintage wash, which is a light burnout, and we made blanks using those yarns, which generally are not available in this hemisphere. And we brought them in, stocked the blanks, print packed and shipped on demand. I think Kohl's was the first customer we shipped product to. Goods set like the first week of May, and within 10 days, the goods blew out. And here we are working with the t-shirt buyer, right? It's a quick turn model. They want a replenishment in 2 weeks. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute. No, these blanks came from Asia. We need 90 days.
Right.
And at that moment, we realized we weren't the only one looking for better, differentiated, retail-inspired imprintables, and there must be a need. So we developed a line, trademarked the brand, built out an online catalog, and the first thing we do is we exhibited at Impressions Long Beach, and it was really a proof of concept. We had no inventory on the shelf. It was just me with this wacky idea that this kind of product would get well received in our industry. The show opened at 10 o'clock, and by 12 noon, we were placing orders with our factories overseas. We were in business. So we had validation immediately. The product line continues to evolve. At the time, we weren't really thinking outerwear. Outerwear has become a really important part of what we do, because there wasn't any real cool fashion outerwear in the imprintable market. Plenty of coaches jackets, but what about a denim jacket? What about a vegan leather bomber jacket? All decoration friendly. So we found our niches, and the interesting part is that we're in the trenches with the most demanding retailers every single week. Look, not everything that makes it through, the fast fashion world is right for our industry, but the stuff that have legs, we're going to bring in, and we're going to stock it, and we're going to have that history to know the colors that work, the cuts, the fit, all of that, intel. So it's really very exciting. There are other things that we learn from retail as well. A lot of our sustainable attributes that we build into our product. We've learned that people value all of the ESG concepts that get tossed around. And they all, they want it. They want made in USA. They want organic. They want all of the things that they hear out there that's, important to their customer base, but they don't necessarily want to pay for it. Or maybe they want to pay for it, but they can only afford a couple of pennies per piece. So we've learned that from the retail world, right? Everybody wants these attributes, but they don't really want to move the price point to be able to afford it. So the areas that we focus on are areas where we could bring those attributes to our products that are meaningful, that are impactful, but yet affordable. So we talked about this last week. We talked about the BCI cotton, that's all better sourced cotton in our products. We talked about, all these recycled plastic water bottles that get grinded up into rPET, these little pellets, and get extruded into yarn and get reused in products like this. This is 50% polyester. The polyester in this product came from a plastic water bottle just like this. It's really cool to think about it that way. And we plant a tree, maybe the most impactful thing that we do. We help with reforestation efforts around the globe. So it's one tree for every case of Threadfast product that we sell. Does it cost? Yes, it costs a little bit. Pennies per garment. And a lot of that, quite honestly, we take it on the chin in terms of margin, because it's part of who we are. And we feel like it's a really good investment in an authentic, real, impactful, yet affordable way to make a difference.
Yeah. I love the tree initiative. That's awesome. And as you were talking, I'm like, wait, you have customers that want the best at the cheapest price too?
Really?
Really?
That's a novel
That's
idea.
crazy.
Yeah,
Wow, that's
so
insane.
interesting.
Well, I love the story because I feel like there are a lot of brands, and brands that are successful always tie back to having a parent company where they see an opportunity and they dive into it.
Yep.
You know, we were kind of the same way. We were on the retail side and then saw that there was some manufacturing white space there. So that's why we jumped on it. So always cool to kind of see the origin story and see how one company can turn into another and see that be successful. So that's awesome. You know, one thing I wanted to ask too, this is kind of a little bit of a turn here, different. Not even talking about apparel.
Full circle, or
It's like
off?
a
Veer.
like a 180,
It's
if
a
you
veer
will.
off.
Yeah, it's like a veer off.
Okay.
But and you know, you could talk about this if you want, Abe. But when you were here, I was able to witness something incredible, and it was a proud dad moment. And you know, I don't know if you know much about Rich and I. You know, I have 3 daughters myself. Rich has 2 daughters. We're changing the population of women ourselves, just
Just in the country.
just in
Period.
the country of ourselves.
Yeah. We're doing the Elon Musk thing. Like,
yeah.
nobody's having kids. All right, we'll have them.
We'll have them. So I have 3. He has 2. And selfishly, not only just learning about apparel and business and entrepreneurship and sales, I also want to learn how to be a good dad, you know, and learn how to raise kids the right way. And I got to see a proud moment with you on the phone with your daughter. And, you know, you mentioned something where she just got accepted to a job with, was it Google, you said? Or
Yeah.
yeah. And so like, you know, just a question of like, just seeing that incredible moment. I saw you light up, you know, I saw you just a proud, like, wow, like just seeing that was incredible for me to see. And any advice being an entrepreneur, you know, it's hard. Sometimes you have to travel a lot. You have to get on a plane. You have to say bye to the kids. And sometimes you have to sacrifice those things in order to I guess, have that proud moment in the future because you set them up for success. Any advice for young dads like us or young parents that are having to, you know, just get after it and be scrappy to then, you know, set up the future for our kids?
I'm very blessed. I have 2 boys followed by 3 girls, so we have a full
wow.
house.
Wow.
Full house.
My 3 oldest are married, and it's hard for me to even believe it, but we've got 4 grandchildren. I don't feel like I'm old enough to be a grandfather, but you know, the business is important. We dedicate a lot of time and energy and effort and passion into that, but it's not an end to itself. It's a means to an end, and the end is family. There's nothing more important in my life. And you know, you invest in your children with time and focus and energy. And quite honestly, the biggest blessing in my life that I have is my wife. She's the most giving, caring, selfless person you could ever meet. And it's just not even, you know, giving beyond anything reasonable. She comes last in everything. It's always the kids come first. I come somewhere in the middle, and then it's her, right? So that's you know, holding, and you kids see that. It's like, you know, you live by example. You show them how important family is, and they, you know, they feel it. They live it, and they know it. You know, the kids have an interesting. My kids, at least, have from when they were little, the one thing I push them on, and maybe this is a little bit of that, you know, fatherly love kind of stuff, but I always demanded might be a strong word, but they knew I expected them to give me their best. I expected them to give me their best. And if their best in school was a 75, I'm tickled pink with a 75, right? But I used to tell them, by giving it your best, I can't tell you where you're going to end up. I can't tell you you're going to get an internship when you graduate high school for Google. I can't tell you that same daughter, I'm so proud of her, she was valedictorian of her class. I can't tell you these things are going to happen, but I can tell you that you will open up doors and leave as much opportunity at your disposal as possible by giving it your best. And quite honestly, that they also see by example, right? They watch the way you work. They watch the way you deal with your employees and your coworkers and your customers, and how you take a business call, right? It's not even so much that you shouldn't take the call. Sometimes you need to take that call, and they're watching and they're listening. I'll tell you just one quick story. So last weekend, we started off the conversation with tennis. My son-in-law, my oldest daughter, is married, and he's a tennis player. He's much better than I am, 30 years old. I wish I had 30-year-old legs again. But we played with
I don't want to play him. Okay.
We played with him and two of his friends last Sunday morning, and I wasn't there. I had played 2 days prior, and I was just like low energy. And my daughter Louise, his wife, is walking by, and she tells me, "Daddy, you got to give us your best."
She flipped it on you.
Gotcha.
She flipped it on you. That's awesome. That was an incredible story.
Yeah. It's great. And you know what? I think you're validating for Carlo and I, because we talk about this just so often, is like, it really is the environment that we as parents set up. I have a quick story this weekend. The neighbors, we have a little place in Lake Geneva, and the neighbors, they set up a lemonade stand at the pool. And so we took all the stuff down there. They put the sign up and everything. And so I said, Giselle, you go be the first customer. And she starts crying. And I'm like, what's the problem? What? Go get yourself a lemonade. She wanted to serve the lemonade. She's like, I wanna make the lemonade. So it's like, I think she's born into like, I work, like I want to be on the merchant side, like she sees us always, Jacqueline and I constantly working and like constantly, we're building, we're selling, we're making businesses. And even from that young age, she was on that already. She's like, I'm not the guest. I'm not the customer. Yeah. I go behind.
I'm not the consumer.
Yeah, I go behind and serve the lemonade.
We don't realize they're incredibly attentive at every age.
Yes.
And the way we behave, the way we act, the way we talk, it's so much more impactful than anything we do. I'm gonna tell you one more quick story that's personal, and then we could jump back to other stuff. So my youngest is 13, and she's in a day camp for the summer months. And the first 2 days of day camp didn't go the way she had planned. The counselors maybe weren't as plugged in, and she was having legitimate gripes. So it's the first year of a new camp. It's a young guy running the camp. And the truth, he may just need a little time to get it dialed in. But he needed to get some feedback from me based on what I had heard from my daughter. So I left a message. He actually called me back last Saturday night. And when he called, I started the conversation by telling him how excited we are about the new camp, how fantastic some of the programming looks. We're really thrilled to be a part of the inaugural year. And then I went on to talk to him about some of the issues that my daughter was having with the counselor or whatever it might be. And he was super responsive and, was very direct in acknowledging the issues and the steps he was going to take to resolve it. And I hung up the call. I went inside. I got dressed to go out. And that same son-in-law walks over to me and says, "Dad, that call was perfect." I said, "Which call? What are you talking about?" Mm-hmm. No. The call with Michelle's camp director. That was perfect. I didn't even know he was listening, right? But it's not a business-related issue. I could have got on the phone and screamed and yelled and shouted and ripped the guy apart. And what was that going to accomplish? And so even when we don't know they're watching, they're listening.
Yes. Yeah, that's incredible.
Incredible opportunity to build these people. They're ready to be molded, and you could build them into giants. And I just love when my kids blow right past me, right? That means we're doing a good job. So it's the most exciting thing. We could talk about business, we could talk about tennis, but the most important job I have is being a dad.
100%. Yeah. We agree with that.
Yeah, in the last part, we have an episode coming up on trends. Not even like trends on like what's kind of fashionable, but more on where's the direction and where's the direction on retail, where's the direction on product. And we figured nobody better than to help us with that. Can you give us, what is your outlook, maybe into 23, into 24? What are you seeing? What do you think staying? What's going?
So for us, we're at an interesting time in the life cycle of the brand. We've started off with a lot of this, what I'll call niche kind of fabrications and things. And now we've sort of been directed and channeled into the core products, right? A 30 singles tee, a CVC tee. Well, wait a minute. How are we doing that product differently? What's our reason for having, sort of that horse in the race? Is it a Me Too product, or is there a legitimate reason for it? So For us, going back to where we started about building product that people love, the product has to have a compelling story. So there's a couple of very exciting things on the horizon. One is we're working with some mills actually in India where we're going to be reclaiming cotton. We're not the first ones to do it. We're doing it extensively on the retail side of the business. And I didn't really understand the notion of reclaimed cotton. There's things going on. I think Mark Cuban just invested in a company on Shark Tank where you mail back your used product and they recycle it. Very difficult to get that circularity going. What we're doing is we're taking cutting room scraps, right? 5, 6, 7% of the fabric that we use to cut a t-shirt from is wasted. And sometimes it gets used to stuff teddy bears, but we found better ways of reclaiming that where the fabric actually gets shredded down to a fiber form. It's separated first by color. It's shredded into a fiber form, but the staple length of that cotton is very short because it was processed once already and shredded. So we mix it with recycled polyester, and we're making a t-shirt that is entirely reclaimed material. Very exciting because we're doing it at very compelling prices. So this move towards innovation in products that we're using day in and day out and improving that carbon footprint on how it impacts the environment, to me, that's becoming less of a choice and more of a responsibility. The other thing that we're looking at, and we're not quite there yet, but there's some very interesting dye technologies coming on the market where, the reason why it takes so much heat, energy, time, and chemicals is because molecularly, cotton and dye stuffs don't want to bond. They're both positively charged. If we can make one negative and one positive, then there can be, we can create that bond with a lot less time, energy, chemicals, water. So there's cationic cotton dyeing technology that we're working with some of the major chemical companies to bring to market with a whole slew of challenges, right? How do you do that and maintain shade bands, color consistency, and a lot of these other attributes to the product that are a given? So I don't know if I touched on your answer directly from a fashion trend perspective, but from a product innovation perspective, we don't see us ever getting to a finish line, right? This is not about arriving at a destination. This is about saying, you know what? It's an iterative process. And every season, every month, we continue to look at ways of how can we do this a little better? How can we tweak how we manage a specific part of the product development or the distribution or the packaging of the product? Or how do we increase the longevity, right? That tap tea we talked about last time is part of that initiative. So these are the things that get me excited about product. And yes, there'll be more fashion to talk about. Considering a vegan leather varsity jacket, like a Letterman jacket for 24. I'm not sure that that's going to make it, but that's something that's in development. Yeah. There's the fashion outerwear. There's the impact collection, so more of the yoga-inspired type product, and just continuing to make core product better.
Yeah, that's I awesome. Think you nailed it. Yeah, this has been great.
It's been great. I can say for myself and the rest of the team that we are all fans of Abe. You came in, you left an impression, and we are fans of you. We are fans of the brand, and we look forward to everything that's coming up in the future, and I'm sure it's going to be successful.
I have one last request before you guys go.
Yes.
I'm not letting you off the hook. You're going to come be my guest this year at the Open.
Oh.
We got to figure.
Sold.
You may have to stay around for a week. That same daughter, my oldest, is expecting the first week in September.
Awesome.
So you'll have to come to town. We'll maybe have to be flexible on the dates, but we'll pick a fun night, and I'd love for you guys to join us.
Yeah.
We will be there.
Well, we're there.
100%.
I could whoop Carlo in tennis.
Never.
Just so you know, Abe. Just so if you want to set this up
I
have
to play down. For
yeah.
You know, you're playing down. That's what I have to do. So
let's
do
it.
Yeah,
we know we can find a few courts near the Open too.
Yes.
play.
Yes, we
Let's
will.
do it. We'll put
We
our
will.
money where our mouth is. All right, cool. This is awesome.
Thanks so much, Abe.
Thanks, Abe.
Take care.
Guys, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. I hope we can have some time again later on. You guys are awesome, and we love to interact and be a part of your world. So thank you for the invite.
We'll do live from the U.S. Open.
Yes.
I love it.
All right, Abe. Have a good one.
You too. Take care, guys.